it does something. There's some sort of fulfillment in hearing it, thinking about how the world's messed up and wanting it to be better and wanting to try to change it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I've been wanting to make a commentary video on Oliver Anthony's Rich Men North of Richmond ever since I saw it. It's affected me tremendously. It's affected many people. I don't know if it's affected you, but what I want to do is I want to dig into why this has had such an impact. What is going on with this song, which some people call the people's anthem, the working class anthem, something like that? I mean, people have gone, way crazy labeling this thing, and it's just wrong because it's so raw, it's so authentic. I mean, can you believe the Republicans actually played this at the first debate as if this was their song? Oliver Anthony labels himself as a centrist. And I'm sure there are plenty working class Americans in the Democratic Party. Geez, they're supposed to stand for the unions, for the working class, for the common man. Since when does the common man have to be, radically conservative? This is about the authenticity of living paycheck to paycheck. This is a story of harsh working conditions. This is the story of someone who's drowning his sorrows in the bottle. This is the story of a person, like so many in America, who live day by day. This is the story of America. This is America's anthem. Let's get into the lyrics and let's see why it's so powerful, why it's so effective.
Well, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
So right off the bat, he comes right at you. Working all day, overtime hours, bullshit pay. He's got a gripe, and it's a gripe that's common to millions and millions and millions of Americans. I mean, this video, this song was a #1 song on Billboard in the world. It's the first ever #1 song that came from someone who never had a song in the Billboard Top 100. This song has 81 million views so far. And what's today? October 13th, 2023. I don't even think it's been up for 2 months. If it has, it's just about that. Unbelievable how this has touched such a nerve. But let's get back to the video. We hear that he's struggling, overtime hours for bullshit pay. Anybody and everybody can relate to that.
So I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away.
Oh my God, here we go again. Boom, boom. Two big things here. One is he's wasting his life away. He feels no purpose. He feels beat up. And the second is he's drowning his sorrows away. He's literally killing himself. And what he's really saying is the world is killing him. And the world is killing many of you. This guy doesn't pull any punches. This guy doesn't waste any time. And it doesn't let up. Now, you've got to match this with the pure simplicity of the music itself. You hear literally every note on that guitar. And then you have that raspy twang, which just is so perfect for this song because it comes from the heart. You can hear it, you can feel it. We all can hear it, we all can feel it. That's why this song touches us. It's the lyrics and the music and the voice all coming together in just such an effective way. Back to the video.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you.
So here we go at the end of the second stanza. He basically just wraps it all together. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. And that's where he connects himself to everybody. He's the everyman. It's so clear, it's so simple, and it's so meaningful because it's so pervasive. Let's keep going.
Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Well, it's nice to wish that it not be true. I wish that I win the lottery, that big one, 1.7 billion. I actually wished it, okay? I dreamed about it, and guess what? It didn't happen. It doesn't mean we don't stop wishing. It doesn't mean we don't stop trying. He's still making music, and frankly, he's dug himself out of his hole. He turned down $8 million for this song. He turned down $8 million, and he's not allowing paid gigs above any kind of meaningful price. But back to the music.
Living in the new world with an whole soul.
We're coming up here to two of the most important lines in the song. Living in the new world with an old soul. That sums it up more than anything else. The world has changed for Oliver Anthony. The world has changed for so many people. The world has changed for so many of us. If you asked America how many people think the world has changed in a good way, that the world has changed for the better, very few are going to say yes. I can't even imagine 10% are going to say yes. I mean, this is way beyond Ronald Reagan's, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And it's not about 4 years. This has been happening for a long time. This world is a worse place, okay? Climate change, violence in America. We've got immigrants flooding. I mean, we've got problems up the wazoo. We've got a war just breaking out in Israel. Things are not good. And they're not getting better. And so what's an old soul? An old soul is a guy who came before things were this bad. Because things also seem unfixable. I mean, the Republicans can't even elect a Speaker of the House. It's been, 11 days, no Speaker. And we've got issues here. I just mentioned we have Israel fighting a war. It needs some attention, guys. It needs some solution. It needs some action. It needs our government to govern. But no. They can't even elect a speaker. This is the new world. And all of us are old souls in the friggin' new world. But when you think about the world, no. You're not thinking this is a great place to be. The new world is not a better world. The vast majority of Americans are going to say the new world is not a better world. And that is at the heart of this song.
These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do.
Okay, here we go. The rich men north of Richmond. This is the, everybody's favorite tagline. I mean, this is in the title. This is the title, the rich men north of Richmond. Who are those? Obviously, those are the politicians in Washington, D.C., and they're not doing their job. They're not doing a good job. And they're not doing a good job for anyone. They're not doing a good job for Democrats. They're not doing a good job for Republicans. They are just messing things up, and life is getting worse. Of course, Oliver Anthony goes on to say they just want to have total control. But what he's really saying is they want to have control to maintain their base of power. That has been the case throughout history. I mean, I think you can go back to the Romans and the Greeks. I'm sure that there were plenty of emperors and plenty of governing people and members of the governing body who just wanted to maintain total control. Because when you lose control, you lose your power, you're out on the street. So the elected officials, they do want to have total control. That basically is their modus operandi. It's basically in the description of what a politician does, control. The irony of it right now is the politicians don't have much control. I mean, again, we go back to the Republicans can't even elect a Speaker of the House. They can't even govern. And of course, the Democrats are sitting by just watching that, but then there's no governing going on there too. They're abdicating. I mean, it's friggin' nuts. This is happening right now. And he wrote this song 2 months ago because it's not about one temporal moment in time. This has been happening for a long time. And yeah, the rich men north of Richmond, those politicians in Washington, they are about total control, and not in a good way.
'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men north of Richmond.
Whoa, I'm not going to go over every word there. Your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end is what really resonates here. Basically, he could even say, and it's just friggin' being wasted. In fact, he will go on to say this in a different way. The government seems bloated and inefficient. Our debt is 30-something trillion dollars. It was just 20-something trillion dollars, for Christ's sake. It's going the wrong direction. It's getting worse. When he says, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. Frankly, I think he's got it all wrong. They do know that you know. And yet they do it anyway. Because you're basically powerless to do anything about it. You can elect different people and you're going to get a similar result. Just look at the Republicans again. They went from Speaker McCarthy to kicking him out, to nominating Scalise, to not being able to get the votes to elect him, to nominating Jim Jordan. And right now, he doesn't have the votes. It's just not working. Now more than ever, when we need our politicians, they're not there. They're MIA on some side mission which they can't even agree to elect a new speaker. What was wrong with the old speaker? I mean, I'm not a big fan, but I don't see much difference between A, B, and C that they've presented here. Just a waste of time. I mean, we're 10, 11 days and counting. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. But I digress. Let's not do that. Let's go back to the videotape.
I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere.
Well, now we're getting to the second set of verses, and frankly, some of the more controversial lyrics. Well, there should be nothing really controversial about this song. It's so authentic. It's from the heart. It's about people struggling to get further and not being able to be successful. It's about our government being inept. It's about too much debt. It's about taxes, too much taxes. It's about all of this stuff, just the things that are wrong. Being an old soul, well, we're all old souls. That's the thing that we can all identify with. We're all old souls, and this new world just isn't working. But he has this line, I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Well, this is an obvious reference to Jeffrey Epstein. And basically what, in comparison to the plight of minors who stand for basically working class Americans, underpaid, working terrible hours, working in terrible conditions, there are people throughout this country, not just minors, who fit that classification. And I think he's clearly saying there should be a brighter spotlight on these people and their conditions and their situations.
Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare.
Again, more controversial lyrics, just missing the forest from the trees if anyone has big problems with these, because this is small potatoes compared to the core of this message, the core of this song. Lord, we got folks in the street with nothing to eat. Of course, there's nothing controversial about that. The homeless and starving in America is a whole nother problem, a whole nother issue, and there's a whole lot of them, okay? The next line is somewhat controversial because he says we have the obese milking welfare. Well, we have so much welfare fraud, and welfare is so inefficient that there's really nothing good you can say about it. I mean, there are obese milking welfare, and there's plenty of others milking welfare, and there's just plenty of money being spent, our tax dollars, inefficiently and poorly, and that's the point, and that's the message of this song. So don't get lost in these minor lyrics because you don't like one little part. That's not the point. The point is that the welfare system basically sucks and isn't working, and that people are taking advantage of it. And that's true. And if you can't recognize that's true, there's something wrong with you.
God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds.
You know, if I were to pick one line that I think is sort of a little bit out of the left field, it's about these bags of fudge rounds. But we all know that obesity is a problem in America. He's calling out that for what it is. You know, I've lost 50 pounds recently, and it hasn't been easy. But that was tied to a whole host of unfavorable health issues. Things like cardiac arrhythmia, sleep apnea. There were all sorts of other dangerous things that were related to being overweight. We all know this. And so for people to not do very much, he's calling them out and saying, hey, you know, our taxes, we're paying for people to tax the system further because they're going to get sick. They're going to put more of a strain on Medicare and on the healthcare system. And that's not a good thing. So if you have a problem with that, you know, it happens to be a fact. You might have a problem with facts if you have a problem with that. You know, he's just calling out what he sees. He's calling out abuses that he sees, and he sees that as yet another abuse. There's just so many abuses. And the common man who pays his tax dollars isn't getting a fair break. And that's basically the story.
Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Oh my God, but then he goes right to young men putting themselves 6 feet in the ground. How many lives are being lost? I mean, how about the fentanyl crisis? How about people who are just drinking themselves to death? How about the violence? I mean, the number of people who are dying unnecessarily is overwhelming. Again, he's just calling it out. This is part of the new world. This isn't good. Oliver Anthony is telling you why it's not good in ways that everybody can understand and relate to.
Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men north of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Well, then we go back to the refrain, the rich men north of Richmond, just the whole powerful set of lyrics and words that we've already talked about. And it just continues on like that. The one thing I also want to mention is the use of the word Lord, which is throughout this song. Oliver Anthony is a deeply religious man. You know, I've seen him actually reading the Bible at concerts in front of people. And so he really is hoping. When he says, I wish, and when he says, Lord, he's praying every day. He's praying constantly for a better world. He's praying that things get better. He's highlighting that things suck so that they get better. And you've got to praise him for that. And you've got to say thank you, Oliver Anthony, for that. You know, by the way, Richmond north of Richmond, it's just a great genius play of words. I mean, I can't believe no one's ever said it. I think everybody relates to that part too. Wow. And then he just goes back to the beginning, back to the overtime hours for bullshit pay. And then you just hear that guitar. You hear every chord. It's so powerful. It does something. There's some sort of fulfillment in hearing it. Thinking about how the world's messed up and wanting it to be better and wanting to try to change it. That's the impact it has on me. Comment down below about the impact that it has on you, and be well.